And you can expect to receive a copy of that recording from us tomorrow. It will go to your WGU email address and it'll come through kind of like a handshake email is what it will look like there. So that's what you can anticipate with that. If you do have questions, feel free and go ahead and put them in the chat. I will bring them up as we go throughout the presentation or at the end, depending on how it fits in. But really appreciate all of you here joining. And with that, Corey, I will go ahead and pass it on over to you. Corey, you're muted still.
You're muted, my friend.
Man, you guys missed like the world's best introduction there. Thank you so much, Kristen. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here again. I do have a couple of other colleagues here with me today as well too, George Schiller and Christina Mobrak. And I'm actually going to hand the time over to Jared. He's going to kick us off, and we'll be sharing some wonderful things with you today.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for your time and interest in taking a look at WGU. So we're going to start today with just some comments from our president of the university, President Scott Pulsfer. So hold on just a moment. Actually, I think I need to reshare that. Hold on, I didn't set it up for audio, so let me reshare, and we should be good to go. All right.
I'm Scott Pulsifer, President of Western Governors University. As you consider joining our team, there are many things you'll want to learn before you make your decision, but there's one thing that's most important. WGU is a mission-driven organization. We exist to change lives for the better by creating pathways to opportunity. Every day and in everything we do, we are focused on students. To us, this focus means that we are actively working to develop innovative programs, systems, and technologies that will enable us to positively impact not just hundreds of thousands, but millions of individuals. What does this mean to our employees? It means that working at WGU is not just a job, it's a career with a purpose. Whether you're a faculty member, a software developer, or a leader, the focus is the same: making opportunity work for everyone by expanding access and improving quality in higher education. If you are searching for a purpose-driven career and an opportunity to work with an innovative, dedicated team, WGU is the right place for you. Thank you for taking the time to consider Western Governors University.
So that was our president, Scott Pulsfer, and one of the things that Scott was discussing was the mission and vision of WGU. So again, this is just a highly mission and purpose-driven organization. And we'd like to think that students are at the heart of all we do here. So again, our cumulative mission here is to change lives for the better by creating pathways to opportunity. And the vision is to be the most innovative, student-centric, and equitable university out there. I'll throw that in there as well. Here at WGU, we have several foundations of all we do. So we have leadership principles, which are kind of fundamental to who we are, and it includes things like urgency and delivering results and being obsessed about students. But one of the newer introductions was cultural beliefs here at WGU, and we feel that this does a great job of kind of identifying who we are and what we're about. So we solve for individual students and advance outcomes one student at a time. So we're always looking at that individual student and trying to address their specific needs. As I had shared, we aspire to be the most equitable university out there. So we try and create an environment of partnership and teamwork and inclusivity, including diverse individuals across the spectrum that can help us work together and serve students and help to achieve results for them. Aim true, we know what these key results are. We know what the mission is, and we understand our contribution to helping achieve them. We also are about personal accountability and responsibility here at WGU. We all recognize that we all play a very important and key part to ensuring that our students have an experience of excellence and that we're helping them to achieve their dreams. We also trust each other. We extend trust and we assume that trust in others as we work towards shared success. We are also about engaging respectfully here at WGU. We invite inquiry, we listen to understand, and it's really about communicating in the right time and the right way here. And then lastly, it's our ability to achieve together. We're working together. It's a highly matrixed organization, and so as an employee of WGU, it's not uncommon where you're not only working with your immediate team or that immediate group, but you're also partnering with stakeholders outside of that group and working across the organization, again, together as we look to deliver results for our students. Talk a little bit next about diversity. Corey, do you want to discuss this one?
Yeah, I'll jump in and talk about diversity. So as Jared mentioned, we are very committed to promoting inclusion, respect for differences, equal opportunities, and diversity over our entire institution. So we believe in the power of education and the value of expanding access and opportunity to all individuals. So our goal is to create an environment where students, faculty, and all staff feel comfortable and safe to be their best selves while having opportunities for educational development. So we have created employee resource groups within our university. We call these ERGs, and these are voluntary associations of WGU employees, with those that share common interests. And this is open to all employees. So this would be available for you to explore if you were to join our team here at WGU. And just some of the ERGs that we do have the Ebony Owls. We have our Indigenous at WGU Owls, our Latinx Owls, Open Minds for Wellness, our Owl Parents, our Pan-Asian Owls, Pride Owls, Silver Owls, Solo Owls, Verge Owls, and Women at WGU. And I'll hand it back over to you, Jared, for Pathways.
Absolutely. One of the nice things about WGU is it's a very large, complex organization, and as such, we have opportunities that span the scope of the university in terms of positions. And as an employee here, there's a lot of different pathways you can take. So, perhaps you're new to the university and new in your role, and so it's about acquiring those competencies and skills to help, advance yourself as you move forward. There's, individuals that might love what you do. I love working in talent acquisition. I don't necessarily see myself growing beyond that department. So what are those opportunities within that current scope that I'm working in? And depending on where you are in the university, there's typically many different levels or pathways that you can achieve. So as a faculty member, you might be a program mentor, let's say, but you can advance yourself and become a senior program mentor. And then, you might be looking at moving laterally across the organization. So as an example, we've had many individuals in our department that have gone on to work on the people side, not in talent acquisition, but still supporting employees through things like benefits or something like that. So there's a lot of opportunities to move your career laterally if you're looking for a change. Similarly, there's many individuals that want to grow into a leadership position. And so there's plenty of pathways in terms of gaining those skills and competencies needed to get yourself to a position where you're ready to manage a team and take on others. And again, there's many, many different pathways. And I think that's one of the interesting things about the world we live in is careers used to be very linear. And now it's sort of this, trapeze. You might, need to take a lateral move in terms of looking at new opportunities if you're looking for, a new pathway for yourself. But there's also plenty of opportunities to grow and move up kind of that ladder within your current role. So really it's up to you and what your goals are, and we as a university and your leadership try and align with that so we can help you on those developmental pathways. Additionally, WGU has an excellent benefit package that we provide employees here. It's very comprehensive. I'm not going to touch on all of these things, but as an example, we have major medical, dental, pharmaceutical options in terms of drug benefits. There's options for health savings accounts or flexible savings accounts. There's also plenty of mental health resources, and a lot of that has been really new, innovative offerings that WGU has come to the table with. I know that that's been very helpful, especially in a post-COVID world. Having those resources available to you can be very, very advantageous for employees. We also have a lot of financial offerings that we have here at WGU. So as an employee, you're automatically eligible for a life insurance policy that will cover 3 times your current salary, as an example. We have a very robust and I think rich retirement savings offering here at WGU. That was one of the things that brought me to the university, because I thought it was just something that I had not seen to that scale in higher education. So here at WGU, we have a 403B, similar to a 401k in the sense that it's tax-deferred savings. But right out of the gates, WGU will contribute 3% of your gross salary into that plan. And then you're eligible for an optional match. So if I'm willing to put, let's say, 3% of my salary into that plan, WGU will match up to that 3%. So again, lots of opportunities to gain some enhancements in terms of the financial protection that WGU offers. And then we also have identity theft and things like legal assistance. I talked a little bit about well-being in the sense of mental health, but we also have a lot of unique options in terms of incentive programs, chronic condition support. But WGU has a new time off plan, which we call flexible time off. And the great thing about flexible time off is you're not sort of pigeonholed to specific days and hours and going, oh my gosh, I've only got 10 hours of sick time, but I just had an illness in my family, or maybe I got this flu that's been going around. It's really about flexibility and ensuring that, yes, we need the work and the productivity to still be done, but your managers still have that discretion to work with you in terms of, if you've got some really urgent or immediate, sickness in the family or something that you're dealing with. There's a lot of flexibility we can provide to work with you and your family. In terms of compensation, obviously, as a not-for-profit higher educational institution, we're typically not at the top of anyone's pay scale, but we do offer very competitive salaries. We're always doing market studies and trying to determine, where is the market going, and ensuring that our wages are competitive and that we're meeting the needs of workers out there. And again, it's performance-based. So if you are doing very well in your role here at WGU, you'll be incentivized and rewarded for that. And then there's a variety of additional benefits that I haven't even begun to get into, and it includes things like discounts on computers and merchandise, obviously, from the WGU store. But also, if you're interested in continuing or maybe finishing that degree, or maybe getting some new degree, WGU has an amazing 75% off tuition discount available for you. So it's something Corey has also taken advantage of that. You'll find that many of the employees here at WGU are also students, which not only is a great perk in terms of a benefit, but I think it also helps create this amazing culture that we have here at WGU, because many of the employees have also had that experience as a student. And so, we can understand what those needs are, and it helps us serve our student population in a better way. We'll talk a little bit about some of the roles that we have here at WGU. So in talent acquisition, we sort of divide this in half, and I think that's probably a nice way of looking at it, to where we've got academic positions. And so these are positions that are supporting students. So students here at WGU interact with 3 types of faculty. So there's what's called a program mentor. There's a course instructor, which we're going to learn a little bit about today. And then there's evaluators. So just, very briefly, a program mentor is somebody that stays with a student across the entirety of that degree program. They're sort of that bedrock, that foundation for a student. They're helping that student not only kind of determine what that academic pathway looks like, but they're also there as a resource for that student. And that resource, can cover a variety of areas. It's academic resource. It might even be a personal resource as students might be, dealing with unique situations in their own lives. One of the most important positions here at WGU. Then we have course instructors. Course instructors are course-specific specialists. So if I'm a student and I'm in that, English composition course and I'm struggling writing that research paper and, it's something I haven't had a lot of experience and exposure to, I have an opportunity to meet with that course instructor where that course instructor can work with me one-on-one to help provide that guidance I need to make me successful in that course. And that's something that, I love about WGU as a student, as well as an employee, is the personalized approach. And as a student, everything's one-to-one. So as you're meeting with mentors, as you're meeting with course instructors, that student's able to get that one-on-one attention that they need. And then lastly is we have evaluators. And while evaluators are not student facing, they work behind the scenes, but they are the ones that are grading and doing all of the assessments on the back end. So one of the most important roles that we have here at WGU, as well as they're doing all of the grading. So that is sort of the academic side. And then of course we have leadership and support roles that surround all of those academic operations. On the other side of the house, of course, we are a business, and so we have many of those corporate positions that you might see in other, very large Fortune 500 type organizations. And so we've got opportunities available in roles like accounting and finance, marketing, student services, public policy, public relations, communications. We've got a lot of outreach going out in terms of commercials and media and press releases. And so that's a huge operation here at WGU. We hire lots and lots of people. So last year at WGU, we hired a little over 2,000 individuals. So as you can imagine, our human resource and people and talent function here is quite large and robust. And there's plenty of opportunities in terms of areas like, being a business partner or a generalist, or even in talent acquisition, being a talent partner to help the university identify talent. Obviously, enrollment is a big part of what we do here in terms of attracting and procuring new students. We have opportunities for program development, assessment development, psychometricians, all of those areas that would support a student in a large, complex higher educational environment here. So to expand on that a little more, we have a guest speaker today that we've brought in. Her, as Corey said, had shared, her name is Christina Mubarak, and Christina has had the privilege of being a course instructor, or excuse me, a program mentor here at WGU. She had a long, successful tenure there, and then transitioned over to people and talent, where she's been extremely successful in helping us identify talent for those roles. And so Christina is going to talk a little bit about the role of the course instructor today. So without further ado, I will turn the time over to you, Christina.
Okay, can you hear me? No.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you can? Yay, because I was so worried about my microphone. I kept saying it wouldn't unmute. So you really can hear me? Great. Super. Well, anyway, welcome. So my name's Christina Mubarak, and I work on the talent team. And so I really have a lot of fun with my job. So I work really hard to find awesome instructors to teach you here at WGU. And one of the most important things that I want to say is that I was a student here first before I even thought I was going to work here. So I had a reason to get my master's degree, and someone I knew worked in evaluation. She and I used to walk. We had little kids at the time, stroller walking. And I learned I needed to get my master's for a specific reason. So I said to her, what's the name of that place again that you just really love, that you love working at? That sounds like magic. And so she said WGU. So I looked it up. I didn't do any research. I signed up, and then I realized, wow, this is why she loves it here. So I started out as a program mentor. So you're all in school, you're either finished or you're in school now, so you know what that role is like. And then I really wanted to make my way back to talent acquisition. So we have an excellent career center here, development, talking to Jared and to Corey and kind of making a career path so I could come back to working in recruiting, which I had done in a prior career. So today, without further ado, I want to talk about the instructor role here at WGU and why it's important. Did you have a slide for that, or do you want me just to go off the cuff?
I just had pulled it
You're
down
muted
quickly
there.
so we could see your face.
Oh, oh, thank you. I know, I was like, well, I can pull off the cuff like I do every day. Awesome.
There you go.
All right, there's the spotlight job. So, course instructors are really, really important here. They are subject matter experts that are going to facilitate your learning while you're in the course. So they are subject matter experts in the sense of the fact that they have teaching experience in addition to industry experience. And they are crucial to your success because their ultimate goal is to help you succeed in the course that you're in by achieving competency. So mentors are going to, cheer you up along the way, get you on the sideline, get you all the way to the finish line, but a course instructor is going to change in every course that you take, and their sole responsibility is to be the subject matter expert in the course that you're in. What kind of support do they provide? Well, I'm going to say, what kind of support don't they provide? Because here at WGU, you are at the center of our attention. We are obsessed with your success. So I always like to tell, when I interview instructors, I say, just imagine the student is at the head of the board table, and the mentor sits on one side, and then all the other people kind of fly in and out as they go out through their journey. Sometimes they need financial aid, sometimes they need an admissions counselor, but they always have a course instructor, but that person kind of slides in and out. So the course instructor is there to deliver course materials. Now, one way you can learn is in your PJs by yourself in the LMS system and not meet a course instructor. But I like to say, why don't you go to the upgrade table, like if you think about it as a buffet table, and why don't you take a chance and go to a cohort, make an appointment with a course instructor. These are kinds of things that I help course instructors that are applying for us realize that this is what we're going to do for students. You've already tasted that board, but this is what we want from our course instructors. So when students have questions, they can click a button and they can meet with the course instructor one by one. Sometimes it's on camera, sometimes it's not. Course instructors also have this big huge dashboard that helps keep track of everything that goes on with all the students assigned to them in that moment, so they know at a moment.
Christina, I think we lost your audio. I think you got muted somehow. No? I think we may have lost Christina, but while she is trying to rejoin us, I think she was just really discussing the fact that as a student, you are the center of everything that goes on here at WGU. So for a course instructor, as you can imagine, they have a lot of students they're working with, but what Christina was sharing is that they have what's called a dashboard, and that dashboard gives them relevant details about those students within their population that have the most need. Right, across any given population of students, you realize that there's going to be some that are fairly astute that don't have a lot of challenges with the course, but then there's going to be the rest of us that may experience some challenges across that journey. And so again, WGU wants to make sure that our students are supported at every step in that journey. So you're not just a course instructor, you're a mentor, you're helping to support those students across the journey. And again, as a subject matter expert, you can share your passion for that by becoming a trusted expert in that field, and you have the chance to stay up to date on the latest trends and innovations around that area of expertise. Another really salient aspect of the position is the ability to work from anywhere. All of WGU's faculty roles are remote, so you have the flexibility of working from the comfort of your own home. Now, I will say WGU does not allow us to, put the hotspot in the RV as you're driving down Route 66. You do need to have a quiet, distraction-free environment to do your work with students, so we can ensure that we're giving those students that experience of excellence. But that online platform does allow you to work remotely, have that flexibility to be comfortable in your own environment, but at the same time impacting students from all over the United States. And I guess that's fundamentally, why many of us are here at WGU, is that ability to make a difference. As an instructor, you are directly impacting these students' lives, and you play a vital role in helping achieve, their educational goals and helping them be successful in their careers. And so, by becoming a collaborative and supportive part of that community, you can share your passion for teaching and educating and have the opportunity to network with other professionals and learn from their experience. So again, as an instructor here at WGU, you enjoy, that work-life balance, competitive compensation. Again, it varies a little bit by area and, what that specialty is that you have. But again, professional growth, being able to advance your career. This is a very large organization. And as I shared before, there's a lot of unique pathways that you can take your career here. And then again, it's meaningful work, right? You're not just making widgets. All of the work we do here at WGU is impacting someone's lives, and our product is these students' hopes and dreams and ambitions. And so it is something where I think many of us go home at night and, you've got that warm fuzzy spot that, you're making a difference and you're doing something to help advance, especially our core market, which is, underserved student populations. There are some requirements to being a course instructor. So again, depending on that area, and anytime you're evaluating jobs here at WGU, I always encourage people to be very mindful of ensuring that you're looking at the requirements, because again, I was a recruiter in a past life where I was on the agency side, and it was just, if you're 80% of there towards those requirements, apply for the job. Now here at WGU, it's a little bit different because we are bound by accreditation, and many of our positions have kind of those requirements behind them that we have to adhere to. So for a course instructor, most of our positions will require you to have a master's degree, a doctorate, or a PhD, or some other terminal degree in a specific content area. They also ask that you have a minimum of at least 3 years providing student support and instruction or assessment evaluation. We work with students across the entire United States. And so many of our students come from diverse and unique environments. And so because of that, one of our requirements is, that ability to work with diverse learner profiles. And then lastly, the ability to work a student-friendly schedule. Not all of our students, as you can imagine, work 9 to 5. In fact, many of them are working into the evenings and things like that. So the ability for you to be available when students need you is pretty critical. And again, specific schedules and things are negotiated between you and your manager, but at most of our faculty levels, there is an ask for occasional evening hours, occasional weekend hours, those sorts of things. Again, the intent behind that is really just to make sure that we have available support for our students, when they need it. In addition to course instructor roles, we also have a variety of other positions at WGU. So this is just an example of some of the open roles that we have right now across our various teams. So we have, more senior level academic roles, such as a lead academic program manager, where you're helping to, look at portfolio offerings of the school, developing new programs, those sorts of things. You've got a software project manager. I always say that WGU is almost as much of a technology company as we are as an educational institution. And so because of that, we have a very large and robust educational technology division. And so we've got, software managers, software developers, many of those IT roles you might see it in an organization like an Amazon are also here at WGU. Yeah, Court.
Can you reshare your slides for us?
Oh, did that drop off? I can.
We're having all kinds of technical issues today. Yay, WebEx.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
We also have a very large financial aid operation. So we have a financial aid specialist that's currently open, a digital customer access manager. I'll be honest, I'm not even sure what that is. We've got a program mentor. And again, that's that role that we talked about where you're supporting students across the entirety of their experience. You're, working to help them, it might be, helping that student identify, some in building a study plan for them. It might, be with that next student, some other issues. So again, it's really just being that resource for students, and again, at a very high level across the scope of their experience. We've got another software engineer role, again, kind of speaking to all these technology openings we have here at WGU. And then we've got the other two faculty positions. So the one that we've been speaking of today, the course instructor, we've got several offerings currently posted for those. And then our evaluators. And again, evaluators are typically part-time roles, and these are individuals that are doing all of the testing and assessments for students. So hopefully this has been informative. Again, apologies for some of the technical issues we've had with the presentation, but again, we've got a lot of really exciting opportunities, and I can attest, and I know Corey and Christina can as well. WGU is an amazing place to work. Being in higher education for most of my career, I can tell you my why is the fact that, WGU is the most student-centric organization I have ever been a part of. Many of the conversations I'm involved in, whatever that issue of the day might be, it really just comes down to what is the right thing to do for the student, and how can we leverage our skills and competencies and abilities to help advance that student's interests. And that's fundamentally what we are all about here at WGU. So I'm sure there's probably some questions, and Corey and Christina and I would love an opportunity to
Hi.
answer any questions you guys might have. And this gives me an
Hello.
opportunity to turn off the presentation. We can talk to you guys directly.
I have no idea what's going on.
We do have some questions in the chat. Corey's been going through and answering some of them, but one question that I thought might be good for us to kind of bring up for some discussion is around like an entry level role, or like when should somebody start applying in their kind of academic journey. And so just curious to hear y'all's advice. I know you're recruiting for a huge variety of positions. I'm sure some of them are entry level, right?
Corey, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So, it depends on entry level, right? I mean, we're going to have roles that are, going to, only require, maybe a high school diploma or a bachelor's degree, but you're earning your degree, right? So it really depends on what you're earning your degree in and the type of role that we would consider entry level. Within our corporate world, there may be some positions within our ed tech environment, help desk, financial aid, enrollment counselors. Jared, can you think of any others that might be a good fit? I think those are.
Yeah, there's also a lot of kind of unique positions. So one of the areas that I support is the Levitt School of Health. And so they've got a clinical placement division that actually helps students, nursing students, kind of find clinical opportunities. And that area has a lot of business development type positions within it. So these are people that are going out building relationships with hospitals and setting up those clinical experiences for our nursing students. So there's a lot of really unique kind of one-off positions across the university. So it's hard for Corey and I to necessarily point to, oh yeah, here's where most people come into the university, because it really just depends on the skills, the competencies, and the experience that you're coming to the university with. But there are a lot of opportunities for those that are new to their career to find a home here at WGU. Again, especially on the academic side, many of our positions do have more firm requirements. So I think you're likely to see see more of those on the corporate side of things. But again, I would just encourage you, it's just really critical to look at the requirements of the role. Make sure that you're evaluating that thoroughly. And, you know, as you apply, make sure that your resume and the documentation you're submitting reflects the experience and, you know, ensures that it's highlighted that you meet the requirements of those positions that you're applying for.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. There's a question in here from Jessica. Does being a WGU alumni give any kind of advantage versus applicants that do not have experience at WGU? So that's an interesting question, and I love that. So, you know, it's gonna, you know, be a benefit in the sense that you have had a student journey here at Western Governors University, right? And you know what it's like to be in the footsteps or in the position of being a student. So one of the things that we really look for with our program mentors, and this is hopefully going to address the program mentor question that's also in the chat here, is to learn more about that. But being a program mentor, so each of the 4 colleges is really going to have different requirements, minimum requirements, or like requirements that they need for the mentor position. So within, you know, School of IT, for instance, they are looking for more of a soft skill individual, somebody who has had some coaching, some mentoring practice in the past, helping individuals, you know, in some capacity reach a goal, things to that nature. It's a little bit loose as far as the minimum requirements within, you know, the School of Technology. But Jared, will you speak to Leavitt School of Health when it comes to a mentor?
Yeah, we also have, so, you know, as Corey was suggesting, we have, you know, really 2 of the schools, and I would kind of lump School of Business to an extent in there that are looking a little more, as Corey said, for soft skills. They're looking for those coaching experiences. And then we've got the other 2 schools that tend to have more specific requirements. And again, some of this is just accreditation related. So as an example, in the Leavitt School of Health for a program mentor, there's many of those roles that, since you're working with new nursing students, it's going to require you to be a nurse and have that RN certification. Same with the School of Education. These individuals are helping develop new teachers. So these people are going to work in high schools and elementary schools across the United States. And so there's many of the requirements that they have that will ask for candidates to have, let's say, 3 years of K-12 experience. I mean, which makes sense, right? Because if you're going to go teach and be a mentor or be a course instructor for these individuals, it helps that you have had experience in those sorts of environments with those sorts of students. And so again, some of the requirements in those areas may be a little bit more unique just due to the uniqueness of the programs and accreditation requirements that may surround them.
Awesome. Feel free to put your questions in the chat if you have additional questions. One person mentioned that they've been applying for a long time. I think they said like 3 years, but haven't gotten an interview. So when you're thinking about candidates who are coming across your desk, what advice would you have for somebody to help them stand out? Does attending events like this help? Do you like for them to get in touch with you individually? What's something they could maybe put on their resume or in a cover letter that could help them stand out? Just thinking about ways that our students can maybe get a leg up on that.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So one of the things that I'm always going to say is, have you really taken a really good look at that job description and compared it to your background and experience and your credentials? Are you meeting all of those minimum requirements for the role? If you can answer the yes to all of those statements, great, go ahead and apply for the position. Cover letters are great if you want to highlight and enhance, you know, some of the things that are listed on that job description. But I don't think a lot of people take this into mind when applying for jobs, but have you custom tailored your experience towards the job that you're applying to? There is no cookie cutter approach when it comes to a resume. So oftentimes folks will just kind of put a generic resume together, right, highlighting their experience. But really look at the bullet points in that job description and highlight any of that experience that you can really accentuate on your resume. This is your one and only time to really brag about yourself, right? A lot of folks really struggle with that. But in an interview process, this is your time to shine. So what are you doing to accentuate and highlight some of these, things that really stand out as far as what we're looking for in that job description? Keep in mind as well, too, that we are a highly competitive environment. We have a lot of folks that do apply for our roles as well. So setting up alerts and being one of the first people to apply to a role is going to give you an advantage as well, because we always go in chronological order of applications received. So you'll want to be one of the first to get in, right? So, there are ways to go into our careers page and set up alerts. You can also do that on places like Indeed. And set up alerts as soon as something gets posted. Be one of the first to apply for those roles. Jared, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you've articulated well. And again, I'll just call out, we do receive, it's one of the, benefits of WGU that we're a well-known brand and a well-respected brand. And consequently, we do get a very large volume of applicants for most of those positions. So they do tend to be highly competitive. So I would just say, don't get discouraged if you're not being selected. That's not really uncommon, but as Corey articulated, I think the keys are ensuring adherence to those minimum requirements and preferred requirements, because if those positions do list preferred requirements, typically the hiring manager is going to start with candidates that have both those preferred and the minimum requirements, and then kind of work their way through. So again, it's just really clear, important that you as an applicant are really clear on the resume. We get a lot of questions in our department about, structure of resume. Do I do a functional resume, or a chronological resume? I don't necessarily think I've got any real great advice in that area. I think as long as it's well written and well articulated, but I think the key for a recruiter or a talent partner is just making sure for us that your adherence to those requirements is very clear and presented upfront in the document, because most talent partners are not spending 20 minutes evaluating your resume. They're just looking through, they're assessing it for adherence to those requirements. And then if you do meet those requirements, that's when you kind of get that further examination. So it's really important to be very clear. And again, I would go as far as just putting it, bold letters right up at the front, how that experience meets the requirements of that position that you're applying to.
Yeah, and I'll add as well too, be cognizant as well of applying for positions that require a minimum requirement with the degree. So say for instance, you're almost finished with your degree, but you don't quite have it yet. We will not be able to consider you for that role unless that degree is conferred. So, it's always great to be keeping an eye on things and seeing what's posted and whatnot, but please wait and apply for an opportunity after your degree is conferred.
And I can just quickly speak, there's a couple questions in here of like, I'm not seeing positions in a certain area. Again, we are a large university. And so, like any other business, we've got fluctuating needs. So it's depending on, what does the enrollment look like? What does the current staffing of that area look like in terms of whether they may have positions posted or not. It's a very, very fluid environment here at WGU. So just because you are not seeing positions in the School of Education as an example today, that can change overnight in our world. It's not uncommon that Corey and I, will wake up on a Thursday morning and we'll have, 20, 30 positions in a given area that we're being asked to open. So it tends to change fairly frequently. And especially at this time of year, we come into kind of the end of the budget season, and you know how that is. Everybody's trying to ensure that, we're looking out for those student dollars and we're not overexpending where we shouldn't and spending, money where we should. And so there's a lot of evaluation and things like that that go on at this time of year. Typically, the university receives new budgets kind of at the end of the summer, and that's when you'll typically see a large volume of positions start to open up as we get into July and August. August and September as those budgets open up. But again, we do have lots of positions posted across the scope of the year. So if you're not seeing something in an area that you've got interest in, I would just encourage you to do what Corey said: set up alerts, make sure you're visiting the job board pretty regularly, because that's going to, again, be your best source of truth of what we're currently working on and what those needs are. Any other questions we might be able to help with?
I think there's one from Benjamin here. I'll go ahead and read it. I recently finished my MBA and have substitute taught at nearly 30 schools, pre-K through 12, but only for a little over 2 years up until COVID. Should I still apply for positions that require 3 years of special experience when I only have 2? If not, then what could I do to fill the gap?
Yeah, again, if that's a minimum requirement of the role, Benjamin, then you are correct. We wouldn't be able to move that application forward if you didn't meet that minimum requirement. So again, I think we're not terribly specific in what those experiences have to be if it's a K through 12 requirement there. So I would just find a way, maybe a substitute teaching. I think there's a lot of alternatives that you could come up with in order to find that, extra year of relevant experience that you need to cross that threshold. And again, I would just say, especially on the academic side of WGU, it's not our intent to be prohibitive in terms of candidates that we would consider, but we are an accredited organization. And so we've got both institutional accreditation, which is an accrediting body that oversees kind of the university operations as a whole, which is the Northwest Association, but also every program may have its own unique accreditation standards. So as an example, in Leavitt School of Health, where I was speaking earlier of some of the nursing students there, they've got an accrediting body that is specific to nursing, and they've got their own set of standards of what faculty need to look like, what curriculum needs to look like, what leadership in those programs need to look like. And some of that does include specific credentialing requirements for, what a course instructor, what an evaluator, what a program mentor is going to need to have to meet those standards. And it's something we're evaluated on. So if we are hiring people that don't meet those standards, not only is that not good for our students, but it endangers the entire organization and our accreditation. And so that's why it's so important that we adhere to those standards. And that's why if you're not meeting every one of those minimum requirements, to the letter, that you're not going to be considered for those roles. So again, I would just, keep reiterating that as you're evaluating positions, make sure that you're looking really carefully at those minimum requirements. And if you ever have questions, we aren't perfect. Sometimes those job descriptions can be a little bit ambiguous. You're welcome to reach out to Corey, myself, Christina, any of us would be happy to, help clarify and provide a little more context if there's some confusion there around those.
And one other thing I did put in the chat, but I just wanted to bring up too, in case somebody's watching on the recording. Whether you are a current student or a grad, you do have free access to career and professional development, our career advisors, our website, all of our YouTube resources. There's tons of different ways that you can get help with your resume, with interviewing, if you need help, figuring out what jobs might be a good fit for you even. They can help, our career advising team can help with that. Oh, I've got a visitor. Hello. But anyway, I think that that's something else that a lot of people, uh, I know, it's something that a lot of people kind of forget about, and it's a free resource that your tuition dollars are paying for or have paid for if you've already graduated. So definitely be sure to take advantage of that. And if you're an alumnus, you can also join like WGU Connect or something like that to continue to expand your network and connect with other people just for more support, more feedback, more advice. Really useful there. Yeah, it's Miles' debut on a webinar tonight.
Hello, cutie.
And Tamara says the resume workshop's super helpful. I'm so glad. And that's what people like when I talk to students, everybody who I talk to says, man, I wish I knew about this before. I wish I knew about this earlier. So definitely take advantage. Take advantage of that for sure. Any other questions? If not, I will go ahead and I'll put a link to the resume workshop in my follow-up email tomorrow. So if you tuned in late, I know I threw in the chat. If you did tune in late, I will be sending out a copy of this recording tomorrow. So you can be on the lookout for that. I'll include a link to the next resume workshop as well as a recording there as well. So feel free. If you have questions, like I said, you can reach out to our team. They're always happy to help support with your job search as well. But Corey, Jared, and I know and Christina got some WebEx issues today, but really appreciate y'all's time and getting to share with us a little bit more about these opportunities.
Well, we just appreciate the opportunity. So thank you for the invitation, and thank you everybody for your interest in looking at opportunities here in employment with WGU. And Corey put our emails in the chat. So if you guys have any other questions we might be able to answer, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. But again, we just appreciate your time.